Michael, we just spoke with Adam Jackson, and it was a night where defences were on top.
Yeah, well, it's obviously, when you have these games at this point in the season, obviously the top two playing each other, there can be a little bit of anxiety with both sets of players. The games tend to get won on one moment in the game, whether it be a lapse in concentration, a mistake, or, like we all hope, a little bit of quality. And I was pleased with the performance to a degree. The first half was okay, but I just felt we showed them a little bit too much respect. But then in the second half, we did get in behind them quite a few times. But that last little bit of quality, that last action, whether it's a cross or a shot, we were a little bit careless. But having said that, our build play to get to where we got to in the second half was good.
Yeah, we saw a lack of quality really from both sides in that final third. How much of that do you think was down to the condition of the pitch?
I don't want to make excuses for both sets of players, but definitely, yeah, it was a factor. There's no doubt about that. But to be fair to both sets of players, I thought they were great in terms of the way they applied themselves and tried to do things the right way. And there'll be no excuses, I'm sure, from Grant's point of view, and none from mine, because the players got on with it and they tried to deal with it as best they possibly could.
Do you think it's a point that you're happier with than maybe Grant McCann will be?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, 100%. And listen, there's loads and loads of football to go, loads and lots of points to play for. But after, I can't remember if it's 25 or 26 games now, for us to be sort of 3 points ahead of Hull City with a game in hand, is great credit to everybody at the club.
I mean, Brad Cook, you had to bring him off midway through the first half. What was the issue there?
Yeah, shame, because he's a big player for us, as we all know. And he's got a bit of an issue with his calf. Obviously, we don't know to what extent. We'll possibly get him scanned tomorrow once it settles down a little bit to see the extent, or if it needs a scan or not. I'll speak to the medical staff in the morning. But yeah, we had to sort of readjust it a little bit. He is that security for us, and he does allow some of the more attacking players in the team to go and flourish at the top end of the pitch. So, bit of a blow, but that was the reason why we've tried to strengthen the squad and give us a little bit more depth over the last couple of weeks.
I was going to say 6 weeks ago you'd probably be scrambling around on the bench trying to fit square pegs in round holes, but at least now when you look at that bench there's cover all over, isn't there?
Yes, there is, and it's pleasing for us. I mean, that was a big reason. I felt we could hurt them in that second half in the wide areas, and obviously Teo, he had a little bit of a problem with his calf as well, but he was toiling a little bit because of the amount of games that he's had to play recently, and obviously TJ with the illness that he had before the Gillingham game, and he's come through it. So I thought they'd give us a little bit of an extra spark in them wide areas, the two full-backs, and I can say that's important. We need players who will come on and going to make an impact.
It was quite a brave decision, wasn't it, from you? It's very rare you see both full-backs being substituted at the same time, but again, I guess that's why you bring players like Regan and Co into the club, isn't it? Absolutely,
yeah, because they tick a box. Well, they tick all the boxes in terms of the profile of the player that we're looking for and what we want, and it's still going to take a little bit of time for them to get used to the patterns that we're used to doing in terms of the build-up, but we've not had really that much time and even area to train on because of the snow at this moment in time. But I mean, we've got trust in them. That's the reason why we brought them to the club, and I'm sure over a period of time they'll just get better and better.
So 3 away games on the bounce you've come away with 2 draws in a sense after the 90th minute, and obviously a win at Gillingham. You must be delighted just to come away from this spell with that unbeaten record still intact. Yeah,
absolutely. Obviously it was really solid performance tonight. Like I say, a little bit of quality in that final third, in the box at times. We're taking shots, when we're off balance and not sort of showing a little bit of composure in the right areas, I suppose. But yeah, to come away with what we have done away from home, still intact with a decent record, got to be pleased.
Remy Howard's not involved in the squad tonight. Is he injured or just one of those players that unfortunately is having to miss out now because you've got your players back from injury?
Yeah, he's obviously, in terms of the strength of the squad, there's not many times this year where players have been out of the squad because we've got 19, 20 players, and we got there eventually. It only took us 25, 26 games to get to a point where I could leave a couple of players out of the squad. But himself and Max were 19th and 20th man, and look, the reality is obviously Bridge has picked up an injury tonight, and there might be one or two knocks, etc. So between them, they'll get opportunities, as all of them will, between now and the end of the season.
And on Theo Archibald, how close is he to a return?
Reasonably close. He's had a couple of training sessions with the lads. It's if we can get him some game time, we will do. But ultimately, there's a little bit of quality in front of him now that he needs to sort of try and get beyond and push and ask questions of not just the players in the training, but the staff as well.
And just something off the pitch today, we've heard of an £800,000 investment into Lincoln City today, made by the board of directors to help get through the COVID period. I guess that kind of support from a club's board is great for a manager, because you're not worrying like you did at Portsmouth, where you're worrying what's going to happen day by day. You can kind of let that side of things just carry on and let the chief exec and the board deal with that, because that's all under control.
Absolutely. The days at Portsmouth during the double administration were sort of days I won't wish on anyone, and I won't want again. But it's nice, because there's certain things that we can always improve at the football club, as well as getting through this period in terms of the infrastructure and all these things regarding pitches and the training ground. So we'll continue to improve and do as much as we can, but we can only do like you say with the funding from the board, and we've been fortunate that they've been able to do that for us.